story. Looking at the One America building in downtown Indianapolis, you can see a kind of a light breeze there with the flag blowing atop there. It might be a little deceiving today. It is 6 o'clock on your Thursday morning. It's blowing around a little bit of heat and humidity, but it's still, you know, the coolest part of our day before things actually warm up for us and the sun comes up. We're glad you're up with us on 13 Sunrise. A dry start that could be changing for us come this time tomorrow.
And we've seen the the fog in the mornings all week kind of ramp up. We have a lot of it out there this morning.
Yeah, I know, and that's what we're going to have again as we go into tomorrow. I think it's just kind of the summer. This is when we get some of our foggier mornings. It's not for everyone, but it is in some areas. Good morning here. I want to show you what to expect for today. Yeah, the fog around, as I mentioned, in some locations here. We'll show you that as we get you ready. Between now and about 9 o'clock, some patchy dense fog. And it's going to be a hot day, not crazy, up near 90 degrees. And severe storms are possible this evening. Scattered to possibly numerous downpours, and a few of those could be severe. Temperatures at this hour ranging between 65 and lower 70s. High temperatures later today flirting with 90. Our average is 85, nowhere near the daily record for today that was set back in the 30s in the triple figures. As we look at radar and satellite, I'll show you that morning drive here, hovering around 70 degrees. Heading home as we get closer to 6 or 7, fair game for a pop-up shower or storm. A few of those could be severe. Have more on that and a hot 7-day forecast as we get ready for this next heat wave when we're going to see this stretch of 90s on the way. All right, at 6:02, let's show you what we have here this morning. In terms of that patchy fog, got a couple of cameras here. So this is up near Lafayette on 65 near State Road 38. Not bad there. Now let's get you on 70 near Cloverdale. A little bit of a different situation where the fog is going to be a little more dense here. No major issues on the interstates, but I know we do have some breaking traffic news with an accident, 16th and MLK. We'll let you guys cover that.
Yeah, we are getting actually new information on this incident, this breaking news from the near west side of the city. We now know from IMPD the investigation has turned to a deadly crash. This is at 16th and MLK.
They just shared that update with us saying that a man was killed in this crash. He crashed into a utility pole, police say. Can take you out to that area. This has been a pretty active scene for the last 30 minutes or so. We saw the tow truck arrive about 15 minutes ago, and it does appear that they are at least getting some of that crash scene cleared right now.
We do know that driver died after being taken to the hospital. Police say they are still investigating. They are not sure why that person ran into the pole there, but again, that intersection, a lot of activity going on right there, but you see the tow truck backing up to get that car out of that scene, and we hope that area will be opening up soon. We'll keep you posted. This morning, Irvington residents are receiving new plans about a proposed data center in the area.
So DC Blocks is the group that is now changing some of its original building plans. There's a key vote coming up next week. Anna Chalker's in studio with what the company is now kind of offering up in a compromise. Good morning.
Good morning, ladies. Some neighbors, they may be shocked by hearing these changes, especially since the company has said this is coming from their feedback. And the company says those plans will significantly reduce the project's footprint. So take a look at your screen. This is the new rendering of the proposed site just south of Irvington Elementary. It shows 2 buildings instead of 3. And the company says they will eliminate 25 backup generators and increase dedicated green space on campus. The company says this is part of their community protection pledge to make several big investments into the Warren Township community. And some residents, though, they say with all of these changes, they still do not really want the data center there.
It's not enough. They aren't listening to what we're saying because the majority of people don't want them here.
The Metropolitan Development Commission hearing for this vote and the data center, that is set for next week, July 15th. Now, before all of that happens, these neighbors are like, hey, we want to hear from our city county councilors because they're the ones that'll be voting on this down the line once the process goes through. And they're just like, we have shared our feedback. What is yours on this as well? So coming up, we'll share what a couple of them are saying on this and why they say they're not really sure if they support this. If they're not yet, there's still a lot of steps to go through.
Well, and they want them to be reminded they represent them,
Yes,
the people
for sure.
where this neighborhood live, and going to have changes.
Definitely.
All right, thanks, Anna.
Well, this morning there is a new voice that is urging regulators to reconsider that AES rate hike.
Now, the Citizens Action Coalition is now joining a petition asking regulators to reconsider the move. So the increase was approved last month and would be applied to your next utility bill. But for many customers, the legal battle really isn't the focus. Paying that bill is.
One Indianapolis woman tells us that raising the utility costs forces some impossible choices. She says that payment plans and energy assistance weren't enough to keep her to have a roof over her head.
I couldn't pay it all. And let's say I could, I wouldn't have a penny to live on. The hopeless and helplessness, I think, is the thing that bothers me most.
Folks are struggling. The affordability crisis is real, and this order is something that I hope the commission revisits using stories like this as illustrative examples.
So what happens next? Well, AES and others have a chance to respond to these petitions, and then the IURC will review those petitions, and then they could do nothing and let the rate hike stand as is, or they could change the order.
But they also could reopen this case and take new evidence from the parties involved, or the IURC could also have a new hearing and reconsider the case that way.
It may seem a little far from November, but the elections are coming up soon, and you may see some school referendums on your ballot.
Yeah, so you might want to be looking into them now. So it's why Community, they gathered to learn more about how it will all work. Ella Rhodes is downtown with us. And Ella, what did the people find out about referendums before they actually head to the polls in November?
Yeah, they actually did learn a lot. So Chalkpea, Indiana, they hosted this community panel discussion to kind of explain what's at stake for public school funding, as referendums could be on your ballot across the state in many different school districts. So there are 290 school districts in the state. 55 of those school districts could see a referendum on their ballot in just a few months. Now, education leaders spoke with voters who wanted to learn more about potential referendums. The group also discussed how education funding is currently split up among things like charter schools and school vouchers. Terry Spradlin with the Indiana School Boards Association says property tax reform makes these referendums make or break for a school district's funding.
We all are stakeholders of our educational system. We all need to invest in it. We need to support our schools. Even if you're a citizen and you don't have children or grandchildren in school, there's a consequence for everyone.
Speakers on the panel emphasized these conversations are critical so voters can make educated decisions. Chalkpea, Indiana also says that they plan to host more of these panel discussions throughout the community leading up to the November election. They just haven't given any dates just yet. And ahead at 6:30, you'll hear more from concerned voters as well. Julie and Julia.
All right, yeah, pretty important topic. So learn all you can right now before November. Thanks, Ella.
Well, speaking of some more changes and schools, there are some coming to Indiana's school board elections.
Yeah, so here we go. When you do go to the ballot box again, this is in November, you will see those school board candidates now listed by their party. That's a big change. According to data from the Indiana School Board Association, half of the candidates chose a party. More than 71% say they're Republican, 14% are independent, and more than 12% announce they're Democrats.
So lawmakers argue that this could drive up voter turnout and help voters that are trying to choose a candidate that aligns with their values. But the ISBA lobbied against the legislation for years and say that politics should stay out of the school board room. Some candidates will be listed on the ballot based on who the county voted for in the last Secretary of State race.